So we're going to take the complicated, we're going to make it simple. So then we're going to tell the story of ourselves.
We all have a home. It is our earth home. And we all live in one home. We are all a part of the human race. And we are all a part of one family. It's the human family. And we have this conversation and this languaging in our home all the time because it is really that simple. We value all humans the same. Should we place different values on the lives of our human family based on their skin color? How would a child answer that question? Our adult society ascribes a different value to humans based on race, and kids are then taught these values.
They see the colors, they see the differences, they value them the same. And that is important.
This is a basic philosophy in the greenhouse of consideration. How do we treat one another, right? And we build upon the word considerate. And so if we had our kids come in here right now and we said, what does it mean to be considerate? They would say it means to be kind, generous, and sharing. Considerate.
Let's start with the story of ourselves. Now, the visiting team were just as surprised to arrive on a continent that was already occupied. But what surprised them the most was that no one claimed ownership of the land and the resources. So they made a decision, we're going to take this. It's going to be ours. White humans that arrived here early viewed ownership as a pathway to personal wealth. Two core ideals came into conflict: individual ownership of land and resources versus a social contract of sharing the land and resources. So white supremacy, as we've come to know that, is rooted in a belief of racial hierarchy, which values white people the most and devalues all others, with Black people at the bottom. White Americans formed their own nation. They agreed on the question of removing natives from their homes, and many of them from the planet itself. But they struggled with the question of what to do with Black people. Black people didn't own any land. Black people didn't have any place to go. And Black people represented free labor, so they had some value. And during the formation of this country, that became the quintessential question. What are we going to do with Black people? As you join the union, your state, you're joining the union, the question you had to answer that would define your state is, what are you going to do with your Black people? Slave or slave-free? And that continued throughout the 1800s. And that message reached the last enslaved Black people on Galveston Island near Houston, Texas, on June 19, 1865, Freedom Day.
How does this story of ourselves compare with the story you've been told?
So this, in my opinion, was one of the greatest eras in U.S. history, and the priority focus was on the empowerment and inclusion of Black Americans.
We have a little pause for you, and another question that I really would love to hear, and again, we just raced through 7 extraordinary highlights. I would love to know, we would love to know, what would you say was the greatest achievement of that, the greatest era? And Amy says she loves the phrase that you used, empowerment and inclusion of Black Americans. She just learned about this last year. That's right. Liam said that the idea of giving 40 acres and a mule. And River said she likes that within 7 years, there were Black men in the legal system. The creation of HBCUs, Linda Miller, absolutely. That's right. Oh, I like this one. Tom, thank you for this. The willingness of the white radicals to defy the status quo in order to bring decency and humanity to all Americans. Let's drop the mic on that.
Let's build an inclusive America together. That's our choice. Or we can maintain the status quo. That's up to you.